study at this time point, but based on the unsolicited AEs shown here, in general, the 16 and 17-year-olds had similar symptoms reported, but to a lesser degree than the adult population. Moving on to the unsolicited adverse events. Subjects were monitored for 30 minutes immediately following each vaccination, and no subjects had an acute allergic reaction. For the unsolicited non-serious adverse events that were reported more frequently in the vaccine group than the placebo group, they were consistent with solicited reactions recorded from the reactogenicity subset, 18% in the vaccine group versus 3% in the placebo group, which would be expected. Additionally, lymphadenopathy occurred more in the vaccine group than the placebo group, with a plausible relationship to vaccination. And finally, Bell's palsy occurred in 4 vaccine recipients and no placebo recipients, 2 within 1 month of vaccination and 2 after 1 month. More details here include that 3 cases occurred at 3, 9, and 37 days after vaccination in participants with no prior history of Bell's palsy. The case with the onset at 3 days post-vaccination was reported as resolved without sequelae within 3 days of onset. The other 3 cases were reported as continuing or resolving as of the November 14th data cutoff, with ongoing durations of 15, 10, 15, and 21 days respectively. The 4th case had an onset at 48 days after vaccination in a participant with prior history of Bell's palsy, and it was reported as ongoing with a duration of 21 days at the time of the data cutoff. In addition, we independently conducted standard MEDRA queries, SMQs, using FDA-developed software to evaluate for a constellation of unsolicited adverse events, event-preferred terms that could represent various diseases and conditions, including but not limited to allergic, neurologic, inflammatory, and autoimmune conditions. The SMQs, conducted on the Phase 2-3 all-enrolled safety population, revealed a slight numerical imbalance of adverse events potentially representing allergic reactions, with more participants reporting hypersensitivity-related adverse events in the vaccine group, with 137, or 0.63%, compared with the placebo group, with 111, or 0.51%. There are no imbalances between treatment groups that were evident for any other SMQs evaluated. Moving on to serious adverse events. There were 6 deaths reported in the study, 2 in the vaccine group, and both of these were in participants over 55 years of age. 1 death was following a cardiac arrest 62 days after dose 2, and the other was due to atherosclerotic disease 3 days after dose 1. Neither of these deaths were considered related to the vaccine. For non-fatal SAEs, these included appendicitis in 8 vaccine recipients and 4 placebo recipients. For the vaccine group, 2 participants were over 55 years of age, and 1 of these had a perforated appendicitis. None of these events were considered related to vaccination. 1 shoulder injury in the same arm as the vaccine administration was reported as an SAE, which we attributed as possibly related to the vaccine administration or to the vaccine itself. My next slide here focuses on pregnancies, because women were screened for pregnancy prior to each vaccination and were excluded or not vaccinated if they had a positive result. So as of November 14th, there were 23 pregnancies reported, 12 in the vaccine group and 11 in the placebo group. The time interval between vaccination as it relates to the date of the woman's last menstrual period are shown here. 2 placebo recipients had known pregnancy outcomes, one of